Hi, today I am going to talk about starseeds and lightworkers who show up with an avoidant relationship attachment style, which is an insecure relationship attachment style. But first, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Natasha Bailey from Soul Mission. So in recent videos, I talked about how I went through a dark night of the soul where I got triggered. My childhood traumas around relationship got triggered. And it inspired me to create this series of videos about insecure attachment styles. So this video is about the avoidant relationship attachment style. So the avoidant person shows up in the following kind of ways. Seems to be more detached, not very emotional, can be very much out of touch with his or her own feelings. They show up as being emotionally unavailable or emotionally unavailable for a relationship. They tend to be conflict avoidant, commitment or relationship phobic, or still hung up on an ex. They may have a very strong work ethic or be a workaholic, and end up not taking good care of themselves or having a good work-life balance. They may come across ultra independent, ultra self-sufficient, and they struggle to be vulnerable or share their own feelings. They may prioritize work, friends, and other activities to the detriment of the relationship, and they can come across a bit hot and cold sometimes. Or cold. They may pull away when you get close to them, or they may disappear for a while or not be in touch for long periods of time. They may be helpful to others, but don't ask for or are able to feel comfortable receiving help from others. And they can come across either hypo or hypersexual. So with hyposexual avoidant types, they tend not to be very interested in sex or feel uncomfortable about physical intimacy in addition to emotional intimacy. But then you can also get the hypersexual type, which it can be very sexually aroused, but they're more focused on the sexual feelings rather than the emotional intimacy in the relationship. So there's a bit of a disconnect between heart and sexuality there. So, you know, how does one end up with an avoidant attachment style? Well, very similarly to other types. You can experience abandonment in childhood, but mainly you'll be having a parent who either isn't present or a parent who's unemotional or judges the child, judges you for having emotions. Or the parent might have a mental health problem of themselves. They might be suffering from depression, so they're not kind of emotionally present. They're not there to interact and stimulate the child. And this is so important because babies and young children need the brain stimulating and stimulating certain parts of the brain that develop that heart-to-heart connection, that emotional intimacy between two people. So if that doesn't happen, you know, the child never learns to connect with others, and when others try to connect with them, they might feel fearful because it feels like it's out of their comfort zone. It feels uncomfortable, so they might, you know, push back or pull away simply to protect themselves, to protect their sense of security and space within themselves. And they're used to a lot of self-soothing or taking care of themselves and not relying on others at all. So I'll bring an example up from my own life. I was dating an avoidant type, and he organized our meetings a bit like business meetings in the calendar. He pulled away when things were coming up or being triggered in the relationship. He also blamed outside forces for creating a gap or division in our relationship. And he had this manner about him where he was always he was very detached, but kind of very busy, chattering, cheerful kind of personality. But a lot of the conversations were very surface level. And by surface level, meaning not a lot of emotional heart-to-heart connection. So I didn't get the sense of the real person showing up. So the solution to this is, of course, the avoidant type also has to create a secure attachment to him or herself. And additionally, might need more resensitizing to the body, to feelings and sensations in the body, because they've had to shut down emotionally in childhood in order to kind of just get on with things, get on with life. So they don't really have a sense of their own feeling. So they might need a bit of exposure therapy and encouragement to begin to open up, begin to be vulnerable, and begin to identify their feelings. So, and I must say that out of all relationships, the two relationships that seem to attract each other the most is the avoidant and the anxious, preoccupied types, because actually, in a way, they're opposites of each other, and on some level, they are unconsciously attracted by what they're not, and perhaps what they need to be more. But of course, this is all about taking a balanced approach and, everything in kind of balance and moderation. So let me know, did this video resonate for you? Do you recognize yourself perhaps or others in it? Please like, share, subscribe, comment. I welcome that. And in my next video, I am going to discuss the disorganized attachment style. But before I go, I really want to give a shout out to some people who have inspired me to create this series of videos. Here's a shout out to Thais Gibson, Brianna McWilliams, Richard Grannon, and Linda Anderson, my EFT tapping coach. Thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you in the next video.